Hello everyone. This is a video on how to complete the types of bloodstains note page, which was one of our assignments for this week. The first thing you're going to want to do starting out on Google Classroom is to go to classwork. If you scroll down to week 14, which was this week, the 14th through the 18th, this assignment is going to be labeled types of bloodstains note page. You click on that, you're going to open up that document and follow along with the notes that we're going to be taking right now. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the principles of bloodstain pattern analysis. So in this assignment, we're going to be looking at how blood leaves the body. And we know that the phase of matter that blood is in is it is warm. Blood is warm, and in the liquid phase when it is inside the body, right? We all have blood. We're really accustomed to knowing what blood looks like. It's liquid, it's red when it's in contact with oxygen, and it's warm, around 97.6 degrees Fahrenheit. But as blood leaves the body, it's going to cool and it's going to change its physical state. And we're going to talk a lot about the characteristics of how blood dries and the types of stains that are present at a crime scene. So we have blood is warm and liquid. Then when it leaves the body, it cools and changes its physical state. And you can see on this side of the screen here are going to be the notes that we're writing down. Once outside of the body, the blood will begin to form a dark, solid, and dried out substance. So you can see in this visual, it goes from being a bright red color. It's going to form blood clots because the platelets inside your blood are going to start to coagulate. And it's going to get darker, thicker, lose water, and start to change color. And the amount of blood clots in a blood stain can tell us the time since the attack occurred, or since the time since the blood was lost. So you can see in this visual, it's nice bright red blood here, and then you can see the blood clots starting to form in these specific regions of the blood. Okay, and then the last one in this part here. So the more blood clots present in the blood, the longer it's been since the attack occurred. So we're going to really look at the time based on the coloring of the blood at a crime scene and be able to really get an understanding of what happened and when it happened. Okay. And so blood can leave the body in many different ways depending on the injury that was inflicted. So we're going to have if there's blood at a crime scene, there's going to be a lot of different ways that it can look like, right? So we're going to take a look today at those different types of blood stains and talk about how they form and give some examples of each. It's all based on the injury inflicted though, and that occurs right here. That goes there. Okay. All right, so moving down, blood can flow, it can drip, it can spray, it can spurt or splatter, it can gush or splash or ooze out of the body. All right, so not a really happy topic, but very interesting. So depending on the injury, you might have a few blood drops. If someone gets punched in the face and breaks their blood vessels on the surface of or beneath the surface of their face, you're gonna get some drops. Versus if there's like a wound with a knife, you might get something that looks like a drip or a flow or an ooze, versus a gunshot, which is going to be more of a spurt. And we'll take a look at all these different types of blood stains. All right. So moving down into our table below, we have 3 types of blood stains that can be left at the crime scene. These are larger general categories, and we'll have different examples in each one. So we have passive stains. Passive, the name here, we want to write that next to number 1, and we're going to really want to remember these different types. So passive, there's no, the blood is moving on its own based on gravity. So these include things like drops, flows, or pools. So as we can see here, For a passive stain, the blood is just falling towards the ground because of gravity is acting on it. So it's a vertical movement from a higher elevation to a lower elevation, and the blood isn't being forced, it's just flowing naturally because of the injury. So again, this could be things like, bloody nose, it's just dropping down, or a cut that's just flowing out of wherever the injury occurred. The next type of stain are what we call transfer stains. This one here sounds like its name, so the blood is being transferred. There's an original blood stain somewhere, and then it gets moved. So these include things like swipes, wipes, smears, and footprints. Also have fingerprints and other things here. And how these blood stains are left at the crime scene is through from objects coming into contact with pre-existing blood stains. As many of you know, blood is very messy. If you've ever gotten a bloody nose, it gets everywhere. And since it's a liquid, it can be really easily spread from surface to surface. So we're always looking out for transfer stains to see if we can reconstruct the events of the crime scene. Lastly, we are going to have the impact stain. These ones really result from violent crimes. So these include things like splatter, gushes, splashes, and arterial spurts. Arterial spurts are a really particular type of blood stain. They occur whenever you get an injury to a major artery. So if you've ever watched a movie where someone gets injured in the neck, most often by like a sharp weapon, and then the blood is going to spurt out of that artery with a lot of force because those arteries have high blood pressure. And so, what these result from, or how impact stains become at the crime scene, is through blood projecting through the air. Okay, so these are different than transfer and impact because the blood is actually traveling with great force, normally based on some type of weapon. So a great example is like gunshot residue. So blood that's expelled from the body as a result of a gunshot wound. You can see that's an example here in this picture. It's going to produce a lot of dots of blood on the surface. So the blood goes horizontally before then it hits another surface, most often like a wall or the ground. Okay, so for impact stains, a lot of force is involved, which sends the blood at a high force out of the body, and before it either falls to the ground or hits another surface. So that is all the information I have for you. Make sure you get all that into your note page, and we will continue learning about bloodstains.